Hi there folks, my name is NovaWrap and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for your simulation release news and goings on from the week that was. So here we are on Sunday the 30th of June 2019 for another exciting episode of all the things that have been released into the simulation world this week. I do want to say once again apologies for my not getting the news to you last week. As I said, I was on the road for work and unfortunately the equipment I had with me was not functioning well, so I was not able to deliver it to you. But we are here this week with the goings on from this week, and we're going to get started with this week with an interesting double release from two different companies, which is not something that we usually see. Okay, we're going to get started with first with the latest release of this, which was from Oryx, which is their release of Global Buildings HD. Now, they've been hinting at these for about a year now that they were looking at overhauling the autogen for the ESP platform. Now, of course, the autogen sort of refers to sort of the automagically generated buildings that goes through all the default scenery, or the non-specific custom scenery that is the dots around our flight simulators. Now, the default content that comes from prepared and in Microsoft FSX, most of it dates back to the FS9 or earlier days, so it's getting a bit long in the tooth. So there's been hinted at from Oryx that they were looking at actually sort of revamping it much in the way that they do with their cityscape scenes, but on board of a grand scale. And they've definitely proven that they can do it with the fact that they released Trees HD a few years ago to update and make your vegetation far more interesting. So they've sort of come along and they've come out this week and actually sort of dropped this on us, which I must admit, was a bit surprised they actually released it this week, because normally they don't really release things when they're in the middle of a sale. But though they have done so, they've come out and they've released with 4K texturing and also done it with regionally accurate textures and updated 3D models for a wide range of default autogen throughout the simulator. Now, it includes, you've got four times more detail, because essentially, well, actually, it's probably even more detailed than that, because most of the defaults autogen was sort of was 512 textures. So yeah, we've got 4K textures coming through here. The new textures include ambient occlusion shadows, including updated night lighting and high-resolution rooftops derived from drone and aerial photography. So they've really gone fairly all out with this one. Over 900 texture sheets with get this right, 3,860 individual building textures are included in this pack. I mean, my God, that's insane. It is absolutely nuts. So they come through here, and as I said, they've actually come through and actually sort of updated it, and it's done through for a variety of different region-specific content as well. And we've got over 400 updated 3D models have been included, overhauling the default 3D building object library, everything from skyscrapers through to barns, religious structures, shopping malls, gas stations, the humble abode in your neighborhood, and everything else as well. So, absolutely nuts, crazy, and is fully compatible across the full ESP range, everything from FSX all the way up to and including the latest version of Prepared V4. It's looking pretty spectacular. The thing that really got me, that I noticed, was the fact that they're showcasing that many of the new buildings that they have include helipads. Now, that's something that there's been the professional nagger, that is my good friend Sergio over at helisimmer.com, has been something he's been commenting for a long time, is that, unless the building specifically has it, it doesn't necessarily, you often can't land on many of the autogen. But it looks like a lot of the larger autogen now is actually going to have that if you do have this this pack from Oryx. So that's kind of cool, kind of interesting. So definitely something for the rotor heads out there and anybody who flies things like the MV-22. So a couple of things is very interesting. The price is actually fairly middle of the road for this one. So you're looking at about $25 US or thereabouts, available directly from Oryx Direct. As I said, for a pretty impressive kit coming out for this one. So yeah, this one's available now from Oryx Direct. Now, I'm going to the reason why I was sort of putting this at the start is because literally the same day, or maybe it was the day before, a company called R&D Presets, they'd alluded only for the last like week or two that they were looking at doing the same content. They were doing the same idea, and because Oryx has been so quiet about it, it seems fitting that another company might pick it up. So ID presets have come out, and they, as I said, they came out with the same thing, and they came out with it this week. Now they've come out with it with their RD presets AutoGen version 1. Now, what does it mean for them? Now they also have come out with 4K texturing. So updating the old 512 textures up to 4K textures, but they do offer a range of resolutions, so 1K, 2K, and 4K textures available depending on what you want to have. They also include updated 3D models as well, just like Oryx does as well, including updates of houses, housing, apartment blocks, and skyscrapers. It's sort of fairly limited though, but they are saying that more content is coming. Updated roof and standard building textures as well. Now, the one thing I noticed is it doesn't say anything or anything else about sort of what's coming in terms of, do we have any, are the buildings landable like the ones from Oryx seem to be. So that's kind of an interesting thing from there. Otherwise, so the price is sort of fairly sort of similar, or actually the price is a lot cheaper for the RD presets one. So we're looking at only about $15 as opposed to 25. So it is cheaper. But yeah, it's also though only compatible with Prepared V4, whereas the Oryx one is compatible with the full ESP range. So yes, it's cheaper. The quality still looks fairly good, but it seems to be a narrower scope of content that's being released for the AutoGen replacement, and it's very much a narrower set of simulators. So which, I mean, given the fact that a lot of the data says that people in the ESP platforms are very much moving towards Prepared V4 in droves. We've got less people, still flying in the 32-bit sims. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm the only one that still is, but I know there are. Sorry, I know I'm not, but sometimes I definitely sort of do that. Anyway, so yeah, it's just kind of like it's just interesting, that one. But as I said, yeah, look, he still looks pretty cool, pretty spectacular. Now this one's available from the R&D website, coming in, as I said, about $15 or original equivalent, available now. So continuing out of AutoGen into probably the more normal scenery release, again going back to Oryx this time with their release of Asturias Airport for their FDX Global series. So this is another one of their Spanish airports, sort of following on from their successful release of Bilbao last year. They've come through and sort of continuing to service sort of that sort of part of the Spanish northern coast and servicing in the Bay of Biscay. So this one is a short hop from Bilbao to the east. Asturias Airport serves multiple airlines flying a variety of routes both internally within Spain and of course domestically throughout Europe and North Africa. It has a fairly high sort of passenger turnover, over 1 million passengers a year coming through, though mostly coming through for tourists during the summer and spring seasons, for various different tourist related seasons, and of course apparently the delicious seafood of the area. Though personally I didn't spend much time there. When I spent most of my time in Spain was many moons ago when I was a lot younger and I spent most of my time down the island of Ibiza. But anyway, we will move on from that. So this airport is a highly detailed rendition of Asturias Airport as it appears at the start of 2019, coming through with high definition photoreal coverage of the airport and the surrounding area as well, including custom 3D models of all of the airport buildings and the custom 3D buildings and bridges of the surrounding township as well. Includes the standard people flow and animations as we come to expect through amazing content from Oryx. Come through with SOD jetways, dynamic lighting, and a large range of photoreal for not only the surrounding township but also into the mountaintops, to the mountains up to the north of Lyon, and going in through up to the French border. So there's a lot of content going on through this one here. One thing that I did note though, that this is another release that's come out from Oryx that is only supporting Prepared V4. Now, I have requested and made inquiries to Oryx about their official position on this, because some time ago, actually no, I do believe it was not Flight Sim Expo, it was Flight Sim Con 2 years ago, when John Venema and I sat down and we had an interview, and we talked about it, and he said with the impending release of 64-bit sims, and he said that, that that Oryx would continue to support the 32-bit sim environment. But I've noticed as time's gone on, and especially probably only actually really in the last 6 months, that with the exception of the one notable exception of the True Earth series, which really has been proven to really only work with 64-bit sims, just because of the sheer volume and amount of memory that it needs. All the other content that traditionally has always said that will be available for all the other platforms is being limited more and more to Prepared v3 and now Prepared v4. So it is very interesting that that is the way coming through that one. So we're not sure if we're going to see a later release rollover into the 32-bit sims converted over, or whether for now it will remain as a Prepared v4 exclusive. We don't know. And as I said, I'm still waiting for a statement from Oryx about whether they intend to still continue developing for 32-bit sims other than anything that's in production at the moment, or whether they are going to choose the path that many developers are doing now, which is moving away from the 32-bit platforms and moving into 64-bit platform exclusive work anyway. So otherwise, folks, if you are wanting to grab this one for your Prepared v4 experience, you are looking at picking this one for around about $28 US, or your regional equivalent, available now from Oryx. Moving on to another airport release, and I feel like I only just reported on this airport being released a couple of weeks ago, but this time from a different developer. So we've got, this is KMIA, or Miami International, but this time the Latin VFR rendition of it. So these guys really know when they're onto a winner. So this is the 5th version that they've dropped of this airport. So this seems to be a fairly solid reboot for them on a regular basis. Now this one is a Prepared v4.4 and above exclusive reboot. Excuse me, and it is a complete reboot of the airport, updating it in line with full PBR texturing support, updated 3D models of the airport, now updates the surroundings of Miami International, including now over 200 square kilometers of photoreal coverage, full implementation update of all 3D objects, of many of the 3D objects and ground buildings to be included now with native PBR materials. SODE animated PBR jetways have been included now as well, and also as well updated the lighting and visual and weather effects and implementations have also been updated as well. Also updated that slippery conditions for runways and taxiways will affect braking action when it is raining, which is a kind of cool update, that one. And how that works with aircraft add-ons, I don't know, but it sounds like some pretty cool technical trickery going on there, which would be awesome. Now, as I said, this is a reboot of their release of this one. So if you are a previous owner of Miami International from VFR, you are able to purchase the update at a reduced cost. Just go back through your original purchasing store. You will get a discount of the release for that one. However, if you are a new customer, you're looking at coming in at $27 US, or the original equivalent, available now. Moving on to another Prepared v4 exclusive release, the guys over at Army Project have released their second airport. So quite some time ago, they released an airport. I want to say it was somewhere in... I want to say it was Tehran, but I can't remember. I think it was, but not so sure. Anyway, but they're coming out this time with a fairly unusual airport and out of the way, which is and I am totally going to get this wrong here, the Ashgabat International Airport, which is formerly known as the Sapmurat Turkmenbasi International Airport. Not going to try and say that again, definitely sure. And that is the main international airport servicing Turkmenistan, and primarily the capital of Ashgabat. So the old airport was opened in 1994, but this is the updated rendition of it as when it was opened in 2016, and is the layout as it appears at the end of 2018. So this has been done and optimized and designed to be optimized to Prepared v4 certifications, including updated models and updated content, full implementation of various different ground texturing services, as well as updates of the airport layout and custom 3D buildings depicting all major airport buildings as they appear, as I said, at the end of 2018. Now, I believe this is the first time that they've made a Prepared v4 exclusive release. They haven't specified during their release information about if any of this content is specifically whether it's just Prepared v4 or whether it's 4.4 and above. There's no just talk about using PBR content or PBR materials, so not really sure about that. and they've used their own SODE. They're not using SODE jetways. They're using their own jetways for this one. Anyway, so if you all wanted to pick this one up, this one is available from Sim Market, coming in about $16 US, or your original equivalent, available now. Moving from scenery releases into aircraft releases, so a release of I'm not gonna lie to you, I am torn about this release. So this week we saw the release of Virtual Coal's latest content, the Beechcraft 99 series pack. Okay, so I'm gonna put a caveat on this. I'm gonna say the Beechcraft 99, which is sort of like the baby, sort of the forgotten sibling of the King Air and the Queen Air series from Beechcraft. I have a soft spot for that aircraft. I really do. I spent some time with them when I was younger. My parents did. My dad did. So I'm very fond of that aircraft. The 99, also, and the Queen Air as well. And there was a decent, fairly reasonably good, fairly decent freeware one available from Premier Aircraft Designs for many years. Unfortunately, though, the PID content was designed for FS9 compatibility and works fine in FSX, and the early version is prepared but doesn't work so well in prepared V4. So when I first saw the Virtual Coal were making it, I was kind of like, okay, cool, yay, finally we can get something here. And this is kind of where I have a bit of a problem. And look, I'm going to be the first to admit, to say that, look, I'm a developer, and I know how much effort and how hard it is to craft an aircraft. Like, to craft scenery, to craft aircraft, craft livery. I get it. I'm very well aware of it, having been a creator of such things myself. And Virtual Coal get a bad rap a lot of the time. They really do. They produce, they produce they produce content, often aircraft that are missing from the rest of the flight sim world. There's sort of niche markets and all the rest of it. And the external visual models are always fairly decent. But it's always their internal models that just let them down. And the sad reality is that their rendition of the 99 is no exception to this. The external model is fairly decent. It looks pretty good. The internal model, however, is no. And this is what frustrates me so much about Virtual Coal, is that if this was their first content, their first piece, I'd probably be willing to let it slide. But they've been producing pretty much the same stuff in the same format, in the same style, for about 10 years, probably 15. And it's just, I will be the first one to defend Virtual Coal, because they make a lot of, they as a developer, they absolutely should be recompensed for their work. Absolutely, I do not doubt that at all. And as I said, like, their 3D modeling is really, really good. But it's just, as I said, it's just their internal modeling of their cockpit just lets them down. It just flat out does. And just, it's a real challenge to try. I can't get behind it. I'm sorry, I just can't. And especially this one, I really, really wanted to get behind this model, because I missed having a Beechcraft 99 in prepared V4. It's one of the reasons why I still go back to V3, so I can still fly the PAD one. So yeah, it's just a bit of a frustration for this one. But at the end of the day, it is the only version that you will be able to get if you want one in V4, and that's sort of where Virtual Coal have a bit of a niche market, is the fact that oftentimes a lot of their content, it's the only way you're going to get that aircraft into your sim. And they're fairly affordable. It's talking $15 for the add-on, which you can pick up via Sim Market. Now, this rendition includes 4 versions, so it gives the airliner, sort of 2 different airliner variants, a commuter, sort of smaller, sort of cabin version, and a cargo version. So, which, by the way, folks, the cargo variant is pretty much the only one that's still flying these days. So, yeah, as I said, I really wanted to support this one, because Virtual Coal, they're a niche part of the market. They're an important part of development in the flight sim community. But it's just like, guys, just can we do a bit more with our 3D cockpit next time, please? Please. Anyway, if you do want to pick this one up, as I said, coming in at about $16 US, or regional equivalent, available now from Sim Market. Continuing on with aircraft releases, hot on the heels of Carinado's release of their ATR 42 a few weeks ago, they have come out with their ATR 72 500 series has been released for the ESP platforms. So they've come out and didn't need to go to Kickstarter for it. So they've come out with a fully functional rendition of the ATR 72 500 series, compatible with all of the ESP versions, everything from FSX all the way up to, and all versions are prepared, up to and including 4.4, and does include implementation of full PBR texturing and materials for 4.4 and above. Pretty standard stuff that we come to expect from Carinado. Very high quality 3D model, 4K textures throughout, customized avionics to make it similar to the real world aircraft. Full implementation of real engine sounds and aircraft's internal cockpit sounds as recorded from a real aircraft. Full implementation of the true to life startup procedure, going from cold and dark all the way up to operational and in the air. Takeoff, run, landing, rolling has been modeled off the real aircraft, has been test flown by a variety of real world pilots as well. Full implementation of custom paneling and variety of visual elements, including wheel chocks, and behavior has been checked again, as I said, by real pilots. So looking pretty cool, pretty interesting. Carinado stuff seems to get a bad rap from a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I think they do a really good job of balancing a content between the stupidly the hyper realistic, not refuse to use that word that gets bandied around, that term that gets bandied around. But also still make them accessible to a lot of users who are sort of taking their first steps into a larger simulation world. So also does include, as usual, full support of FlightOne's GTN 750 and Reality XP's GTN 750 integration, and does implement and work with NovaWrap database, including January 2016 NovaWrap database is included as well. So if you want to pick this one up, pick it up available either direct from Carinado's website for $45 US, or your original equivalent available now from Carinado or your favorite flight sim retailer available now. Moving out of the ESP world, moving into the world of X-Planes. There are a couple of releases this week. The first one, we saw the release of the Vitoria airport in Spain. So this one is a sort of a regional airport, and is also known as Foronda Airport, given that is the region, so the village that is nearby. This one is one of those airports, one of those smaller, slightly out of the way airports that are used by the likes of budget carriers, including this particular one for Ryanair. Otherwise, though, it is primarily a cargo hub, and as such holds the distinction as being Spain's fourth largest cargo airport, including being a major hub for DHL, Swiftair, and ASL Belgium, all operating from there as well. Now, included with the highly detailed rendition of the airport and with the layout accurate as appeared at the end of 2018, including implementation of all major buildings, so custom 3D models of all major airport buildings, full high-resolution building textures with ambient occlusion, as well as full implementation of PBR materials on both buildings and ground textures. You get 5 to 10 centimeter pixel ortho imagery for the airport itself. Between 5 and 30 centimeter pixel ortho imagery inside the airport grounds, and then you have over 750 square kilometers of the surrounding countryside are included with up to 1 meter per pixel ortho imagery as well. So pretty cool where you got the sort of there. The other interesting thing here about this airport, not sure how they're doing this, I'm assuming some form of plugin, but it's kind of cool, is that they have custom weather effects. Now, I don't know whether this would work out through the rest of your sim or only around the airport. They don't really sort of say much of this. I couldn't find any other information about this, but they have custom rain effects. If it is raining when loading the airport, a rain overlay will appear. It also has custom snow effects, where if the temperature is below 0 degrees Celsius, because the rest of the world, the 99% of the world works in metric. Anyway, moving on. They have a dynamic snow effect gets included in the sky, and the default ortho photos are replaced by a sort of snow-covered ortho photos. That's cool. Like, the fact that it's dynamic like that That's awesome. No idea how they're doing it. I'm really curious to know if the snow overlay would work away from the airport. Let me know if you're a developer and you know about, or anyone knows the answer to that, because that would be cool. But the fact that it does it at all, that's cool. Anyway, so this comes to us from developer PDI Sims, and is available now from the xplane.org store, coming in at $25 or your original equivalent, available now. And another another X-Plane 11 release. The guys over at France VFR, I didn't actually know they'd actually moved into the X-Plane world, so it's great to see that they have. They've actually come out, they've actually looks like they've been in it for a few months. I must have missed a few things. Anyway, they've come out with their obstacles and VFR landmarks for France. So this is a series they've been producing for a number of years for the ESP platforms, and I remember we reported on this quite some time ago where they released it for a Prepared V4 exclusive release version for this one. And they've now ported it over into the X-Plane 11 world. Now, what this includes is over 4,000 obstacles, which is known into French air traffic or air safety services, including over 1,000 radio and television telecommunications towers, 1,000 microwave towers, over 200 cooling towers, smokestacks and flares, 1,500 water towers, 90 lighthouses, a barrel of churches, and various different power plants, as well as over 450,000 power towers with their ready right markings in the vicinity of airports, high voltage and extra high voltage network lines, high voltage substations, windmills, churches, agricultural greenhouses, castles, 23,000 castles. I didn't know there were that many in France. Like, what? How many? Anyway, 11,000 water towers, 5,000 agricultural silos, 12,000 industrial tanks, 14,000 antennas, and 3,500 lifts and cable cars. That's nuts. There is just so much stuff in this content, and they're all sort of all put through. So that's really, really cool. Like I said, this has been available for Prepared V4 for some time. It's come over to X-Plane 11, so it's great for VFR, low and slow flies. It's going to be great for you guys. Fairly Xy in terms of its price, though. But again, as I said, you're getting a lot of stuff. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck on this one. So you're coming in about $35 US, or your original equivalent, either available direct from France VFR's website or from Sim Market, available now. Oh, I did want to include, in that one, that if you are a previous owner of the ESP version, whether it be the old legacy version of the FSEX and early versions Prepared version or Prepared V4 exclusive version, you will get a discount on that one if you do purchase it through your original purchasing store. Just log into your account and go from there. Available now. Alrighty, moving out of the traditional flight sims, moving into a different flight sim, which is open to interpretation for a lot of people, with Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown releasing their latest piece of DLC, the ADF-01 Falcon set. So, basically, this is a new aircraft, which is a okay, so it's one of the sort of science fiction, space age kind of looking aircraft that's included with this one. It's in the canon story, there's a drone. This is the piloted version of the drone, basically. And yeah, super crazy, super maneuverable, super wacky looking, but yeah, still kind of cool. But yeah, it comes through with, gives you 7 different skins for it. Also includes a variety of weapons, including high output lasers, fuel air explosive weapons, fuel air explosive bombs are included as well. You also get 1 aircraft skin for the Su-30. You also get 4 emblems you get for all of your aircrafts, including the War Dogs, Aces of Razgriz, Ghosts of Razgriz Squadrons, and the Scarface emblem as well. So, fairly comprehensive pack. If you were a purchaser of the Season Pass or the Deluxe Edition of Ace Combat 7, then this is included. You do not have to pay for this one again. Otherwise, this is a purchase one, coming in at $5 US or your original equivalent, available now either on Steam or on the PlayStation Store. Alright, moving out of that, moving into the ground transportation with OMSI 2's latest line release, with the release of their Wuppertal Bus Line 639. So this bus line is a 6-kilometer mobile route which runs through a variety of districts. Sorry, it runs through the Wuppertal district of Sonborn. So this is a true-to-life route that goes through and takes in the S-Bahn station at Zoological Gardens and the Wuppertal Zoo. So this is apparently considered one of the most challenging routes in Europe because of the types of roads that you have to go through, and is so an interesting piece of DLC and challenging bus driving history here. So this is a real bus line, the real bus line 639 of WSW, 6 kilometer route through mountains and backwards parts of the town, using real timetable data and with very detailed edge development and routing. If bus is your thing, you might want to be ready for this one. So this one's coming in at $6 or the original equivalent, available now on Steam. In another release this week for the simulation genre that looks like it's very much a VR title, though it doesn't officially say that it is VR, though the preview video very much looks like it is, or it should be always optimized for it. We saw the release this week into early access of Storm Chasers. Basically, this is a game version of Twister. The movie Twister, by the way, not the sort of in-person board game. The blurb's fairly generic. It's sort of tornadoes and hurricanes, the most dangerous storms nature can throw at us. Be one of the intrepid storm chasers that tracks deadly tornadoes in this online multiplayer video game. Yeah, anyway, basically it's you can either do single player offline or multiplayer. You can either do challenge mode or you can do cooperative mode. You've got different game mechanics, including photography, tornado control. You've got realistic tornado physics, including strong winds and prop destruction. So it's a fully destructible environment. It's a large custom map that is inspired by Tornado Alley. So it is not actually a real world scenario. It is a sort of custom area. You've got complex photography evaluation algorithms, so you can actually go through which from the preview, that the photography algorithm is one of the coolest things I've actually seen, which is kind of cool. Anyway, your vehicle that you drive around is equipped with weather radar, and you've got an inbuilt sort of like various different FM radio stations you can do as well. And there is, as I said, the thing that made me make the comment about this being inspired by the movie Twister is that there's a byline in the description that says it is possible to see a flying cow. So, by the way, if you haven't seen Twister, just Google Twister flying cow, and just the entire movie basically can be summed up in that scene. Just, yeah. Anyway, moving on. But look, if you do want to give this one a go, it is available now on Steam, coming in at a nominal price of $13 though currently enough, because it's pretty much been released in the middle of the Steam sales, they've whacked it on a release special, a launch special, with 15% also coming in about $11, available now on Steam. And rounding out the simulation release news for this week, the guys over at Train Simulator released something in the middle of the Steam sale, which I didn't expect them to do. I always think it's a bit odd when sort of especially established developers release stuff on Steam in the middle of a Steam sale. It seems to be a weird time to do it. But anyway, so this is the Train Simulator 2019 released their rendition of the Sudbahn Bruck an der Mur to Maribor route. So this is one of Austria's most historic and most important railways, which is a mountainous corridor that connects communities and industries together, and as well as goes through goes across the Austrian-Slovenia border as well. It has survived and outlasted a variety of different conflicts, having originally been created in the 1840s, and still serves as an important part of the route, important part of European train traffic even to this day. So this particular route focuses on the north-south corridor between Bruck an der Mur in Austria and Maribor in Slovenia, which is a distance of approximately 130 kilometers and features 27 true-to-life stations. Along with that, you get 5 career scenarios are included here, along with a single BR1822 locomotive, which is included as well. So you get a beautiful, highly detailed mountain route is included, with authentic scenery placement and an accurately, highly designed but ever accessible BR1822 locomotive is included as well. So this one's coming in at a fairly standard price for this guy's coming in at $40 or the original equivalent, available now on Steam. And with that, folks, that does now round out the NovaWrap for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright, folks, thanks very much for joining me. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.